One second, everybody. I'm gonna get everything set up correctly. Oh, there it is. All right. Welcome, everybody, to Digital Asset News. Take the top stories in cryptocurrency and digital assets and bring them out of bite-sized pieces. First thing I want to do is make sure that the audio is good and everybody can see this. This is kind of important to do that first. Hello, Andrew, Langton, Dylan, Kilbeck, Casey Pillip, everybody. Appreciate it. I'm going to try something a little bit different today. First of all, I'm going to have a special guest on a little bit, and I'm going to try to bring them into the live stream, which should be pretty good. And second of all, I need to ask everybody's help, first of all. Every time we do these live streams, I have to make sure there's two things that are correct. First of all, the video. Let's make sure there's no glitches, it's not doing too much, and it's actually performing like it's supposed to. And the audio. Tell me how both of those things are, and then we'll go from there. Serious Ham, good audio. Exit strategy helped. Thanks, China, Rob. We're going to go over that. China's a thing. Hello, Sharon, Gabriel, Birmingham, UK. Man, it must be early over there. Audio and video are good. You know what? I was going to use my my SM7B microphone, but wired headphones, as cheap as they are, seem to be doing pretty damn good. I don't understand why. So, all right, as much as this costs, I think I'm just going to put this to the side for a second. Okay. And then, once the guest gets in. First of all, thanks everybody. It is a Sunday, and what a day, huh? Anything going on? No, nothing. Okay. Well, that was good. So thanks for stopping by. I appreciate it. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up. No, I'm just kidding. There's some things going on, right? There's a lot of things going on, and one of those things is, well, the market seems to be going down just a little bit. And I have to tell you, usually on this channel, I'm pretty unflappable, honestly. I'm pretty much just like, another dip. We call it a Tuesday. You know, in the traditional markets, people are going to be jumping out of the windows. But that's pretty much how I've been pretty much since after 2018, when I figured out, hey, crypto is not like traditional markets, and we really need to pay attention and just say, not a big deal. However, today I made a mistake, and I'm going to tell you that mistake in a second. But I'm going to bring you back a little bit and just talk about what happened. So, been doing a lot of different things, been under a lot of different stress, a lot of things are going on in the background, and so had a great day yesterday. It was a beautiful day. Hang out with some friends and family and stuff. It was awesome, right? Did a little bit too much last night. That's why my voice may be a little bit jacked up, but it is what it is. And the mistake I made today, I will just tell you this, is when I woke up, the first thing I did was take a look at my text messages. And that's never good, right? When you get up, it should be just like, just let the day kind of come to you and just see and just relax a little bit and then kind of ease into it. But guess what? Look at the text messages, everything's going wrong. Okay. So this is going wrong, that's going wrong. And then the market. And then, of course, what's going on with Bitcoin, what's going on with cryptocurrency, and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I don't know, let me take a look. So I took a look, and then I took a look at some articles. Then I watched some YouTube videos. And I have to tell you, the screw up on my part was doing this. And tell me if you've fallen victim to this, where you watch something, you're like, oh, that has merit. And then you watch something else, like, oh, that makes sense too. Then you watch something else, and you're like, oh, okay. And then before you know it, you have all these different ideas, and you're like, holy smokes, maybe this is it. Maybe the bull run is over. Maybe I was incorrect in some things. And then I almost punched myself in the mouth for thinking that. I was like, what the heck just happened there? And I got it. It's because sometimes when we get into certain things, especially in the crypto market, and we've done all the research, right? If you're here right now, first of all, welcome. Second of all, if you're new to this, let me just bring you along a little path and just tell you that these are the types of things that are normal. These dips, these valleys, these pumps, these dumps, these whales, these exchange fees, everything that we're doing right now is pretty much the norm, right? And sometimes you get a little rattled, but then you have to just take a look back and go, let's take a look at what's really going on and then go from there. And that's what I did. So I didn't have to punch myself in the mouth, which was good. And, I mean, thankfully, my jaw maybe is a little bit stronger than Ben Askren. Guy got knocked out last night, didn't know. Just kidding. It was a good fight. And yeah, and it goes back to what we've always said, right? Dips are good, pullbacks are healthy. Who just said that? Buy the dip, right? And then you just go, well, this is the same thing I've been doing the whole time. And then when you take a look at it, you go, okay, well, where are we going in this trajectory? Well, I am not Nostradamus, but I can tell you like this. Never underestimate the power of greed and never underestimate the power of groupthink. And we'll go over that in a second. So first of all, thanks for coming by. Let's jump in, shall we? Let me share my screen right quick. And then another thing is things don't change, right? Today, it's kind of crappy here in El Paso. It's like 50 degrees, something like that. It's always the same thing. Wake up, walk the dogs, take a dip in that freezing cold pool. And I know people are like, is that a green screen? No, it's not a green screen. It's an actual pool. And then we go from there. All right, let me share my screen, shall we? And share. Oh, there I am. Jeez. My head's enormous. All right. So this right quick, this was a pretty good piece of information. I think people have already talked about this, liquidations. I just thought it was interesting. This is from CJ, my man over there at Market Rebellion. And I think we've heard about this, but I'm just going to go over this quite quickly. Okay. Now what we got? Let me break this down here. So this is from bybt.com, and it can show you what liquidations are and what's going on. And in the last hour, we've had, 17 million liquidations, which you think is a lot, which it really isn't. Then you got a 4-hour, 109 million, 12-hour, almost $1 billion. And in 24 hours, there's $10 billion that has been liquidated. Now, here's the thing. I'm not a trader. I sure as heck don't do leverage trading. I think it's destroying the market. I know what I'm going to get crucified for saying that, but I'm just telling you, a lot of you don't know what the heck you're doing as far as leverage trading. You can do whatever you want to. That's fine. But when I see these leverage traders, I'm like, Jesus. And then when I talk to traders who are really good at it and know even what they're doing, they're like, I don't touch that stuff. So, I mean, do whatever you want to. I'm just, this is not financial advice. Gamble all the way that you want, but I got to tell you, kind of hard to see that. And then we're going to go over some different things about, there is a rumor of a crackdown from government agencies, from traditional financial institutions that were doing money laundering. We're going to talk about in China, there was a shutdown of some mining operations because of different issues, then some other things. But what I really need to do is bring in this guy. Let me just stop sharing my screen for a second. And admit him. And what I need to do real quick, who is this handsome devil?
Whoa, are we live?
No, no one's watching. It's okay.
I think catching me off guard just now has set a record. This is the first time no hat on YouTube.
Look at this guy, handsome.
I wasn't prepared.
Say, hey man, sometimes, Alex, you're like me. You just, when you got so much to do, you're just like hat, throwing a hat. That's it. So yeah, we're live, but I think we got like 2 people watching. No big deal.
Awesome.
And yeah, awesome. It's just us back at the pub, right? Talking. So what I did real quick, let me change the view. So what I did was, I was talking about it real quick because I wanted to go over this before he got in, because I talked about how I got rattled today. I got rattled today.
Whoa.
Because, yeah, I know, because when I woke up, I told him I did something stupid. So this is just a recap, everybody. I did something stupid. I had a real wild, not a wild day, but just a very intensive day yesterday, and some things were going on, and maybe had a little bit too much fun last night. and then I woke up and I was like, what the hell's going on? And all of a sudden, text message. Then you take a look at the market. Then you watch some YouTube videos. You know, experts tell you what's going on. You know how that goes, Alex. And I was like, shoot. And I thought to myself, man, maybe I overthought this whole bull run. Maybe it's going to end differently. Maybe it's not going to be like it was last time. And then I said, I just got rickrolled. I can't believe that just happened to me. And I almost punched myself in the mouth because we have to just take a step back and look at the facts of what's going on and then just go from there. And the last thing I said was never underestimate the power of greed and groupthink. And those big things. So, my man, tell us what's going on, because if for those who don't know, this is Alex Mascioli, former head of institutional investment over there at BQuant. Dealt a lot with those hedge fund managers and all those billion-dollar players and whatnot. Now he is the CEO and owner of Trade the Chain Sentiment Analysis. And I invited him on just to give a little perspective of what the heck is happening here. Al, what do you got?
Well, I mean, it was definitely an interesting morning to wake up to the markets to, and being rattled is only natural. The first thing people, I'm sure, do is they open up their phone, they open up all their apps where their crypto is. They see it down dramatically, and they're like, "Oh, the world's ending. What's going on?" They start googling, trying to find out. It doesn't matter how. It doesn't matter how experienced you are. Everybody's natural reaction is to do that. So to have a little bit of fear. There's a couple of things. So when I started scanning, there's a couple of things. I saw a blackout occurred over in China for a mining facility.
Yeah.
And hash rate. People were speculating that the massive decrease in hash rate was causing the bottom to fall out. There was also a couple of articles. I mean, I don't know if you could, do you mind if I share screen real quick?
Absolutely not. Don't you ever. No. I think I gave you access already when you popped in, so let me know if it works out.
Very cool. Yeah, so there's a couple different articles that I pulled up here for examples. What are the most believable headlines? Because the one thing that happened today was there's a lot of different headlines. Here's one. Bitcoin and crypto markets crash on U.S. crackdown reports.
This was huge. I think this was because it was going everywhere, and I was like, oh, okay.
Now it says, it goes on to say that the Bitcoin experienced a massive sell-off. It's based on the fact that regulators are going to come down on exchanges and other U.S.-based entities. Now, I don't believe that this is the case, the cause for the retracement in price. And a couple of examples I'll set. One is AML KYC has been implemented and been a standard in US regulated exchanges since the beginning. Okay, that to further crack down does not mean to further hamper their business operations. It would be some sort of cooperative effort on maybe they're looking for something specific or surveillance transactions. Two is we have the most crypto competent and intelligent regulators in their positions right now, more so than we did the last administration and double so the administration before that. We have regulators in their positions now that understand crypto more. So I think this is FUD. I don't believe this article to be the cause of a 10% or more retracement. What are your thoughts on that, Rob?
Well, first of all, here, let me let's bounce back just to us. Here's my thoughts about this. Thanks. Is that we just had Gary Gensler just get confirmed by the Senate committee to be the head of the SEC, and I've talked about this ad nauseum on my channel. You can go right now in YouTube and take a look at Gensler teaching a blockchain and cryptocurrency class at MIT. MIT. That is not the community college that I went to. These are actually pretty reasonably smart people. And he's teaching them exactly what's going on. And that's the guy who's in charge of the SEC. Oh, and by the way, it's not like he's just cryptocurrency guy. I believe, wasn't he a Goldman Sachs exec beforehand?
Yes.
So he knows the traditional finance inside and out. He knows the crypto market inside and out. So when I saw this, I'm like, when I saw it, it was on Zero Hedge. And they were very quick to note that this is unsubstantiated and it's a rumor.
Yep.
And I was like, well, tell me more, because I love a good rumor myself.
And I like Zero Hedge too. I trust that source.
Yeah. And of course they're like, hey, this is just unsubstantiated. I'm like, well, give me the cheese, man. Tell me what's going on. And and that's what's up. So I think, if they are looking for something as far as some money laundering type of thing, they're gonna have to especially in the traditional, because was it talking about like banks were doing these types of things or something else? Or were we talking about like exchanges doing these types of things? That was the big question I had.
It
I
was
can't.
people facilitating it through exchanges.
Ah,
Which, by the way, was touched on by us during the course of this past week in regards to a certain broker, and why there seems to be an upswing in what people believe to be nefarious activities coming from maybe tier 2, tier 3 banks that are connected to accounts and things like that.
yeah. You know what? This was, and speaking of like nefarious and illicit activities, which we all hear, right? I remember when I got in, it was all about this, well, Silk Road, and then the cartel is using Bitcoin like crazy. Oh, and also about terrorism. There's all these illicit activities. Let me share my screen. And then we had talked about this too. I say we, but it's just me because I'm not cool like Alex. I don't have a whole crew. So it was a former CIA director, and he pretty much just said, look, I took a look at all the data, and I can just tell you, like, as far as like illicit activity, yes, it was higher in 2012, 2013 with the Silk Road, but as time has gone on, it's been about 1%. Oh, and by the way, if you're taking a look at the most illicit activity, it's by the traditional banking system and finance, which was at 2%. So when we take a look at that, we're like, well, okay, that's it. Oh, then before I forget, we actually started off with talking about the liquidations from CJ.
Oh yeah, 10 billion you're talking about?
Just that's small. It's small now. So you want to touch on that because you know those guys. How many of those people do you think of your guys that got liquidated?
I don't. I think it's going to be a small percentage, and this is what Rob's talking about here. There was a heck of a lot of liquidated long positions that happened in the market because of the price retracement, and I think it's a bunch of over leverage on the retail side as far as that goes. I do not think it was necessarily large institutional derivatives positions. There's going to be a great many of them that were, but I think the majority was over leveraged, overzealous retail investors.
What?
I know.
Retail investors getting greedy? That's insane.
You put $1,000 into your Bitcoin account position. You say, wait, they're going to give me $2,000 more to go long on it. Why not?
Yeah. So let's talk about leverage trading real quick. Alex, you're a trader. I use that term
loosely,
respectfully. I was going to say respectfully, but I want to ask you about leverage trading. So I'm not a trader. I'm awful at it. I tried it in my hand and I suck. And I'm just an investor. For leverage trading, do you think people just got ahead of themselves a little bit, or do you think there's a lot of people out there like, you know what, leverage trading is for me all the way?
Yeah, I mean, gambling, it's a hell of a drug. And what happens is that this is basically facilitating gambling by people who don't quite fully understand the arena. Okay. And I think you have a large influx of new crypto people coming in with the likes of Voyagers and Coinbases and the publicity that they've been getting. And so when certain exchanges offer you extra chips at the table, it's FOMO. You feel like you're missing out. You feel like, listen, I think Rob's making more money at crypto than I am every day. So I'm going to upsize my position because I want to get a pool and be as cool. And I think that's a very systemic thing that happens, and it lures people in. And before you know it, they're in over their skis.
Yeah, unfortunately, that is a big problem, right? But I mean, it just seems like you can do it. And I'm going to tell you right now, everybody who's watching right now, you have to understand you can do whatever you want to do. I mean, if you're like, I'm gonna do a little bit of leverage trading, that's one thing, right? But if you're like, you know what, honey, sell the house, sell the truck, sell the cars, we're putting it all on Doge and we're going to the moon. I think those are the foolhardy type of things that really, I mean, statistically, they're not going to pay off all the time. Let's just put it like that. So again, you can do whatever you do and get into there. I'm not saying you shouldn't, and I'm not talking down to anybody. I'm just saying you got to be careful because in the blink of an eye, you just lost, a big portion. And I'm sure a lot of people didn't expect Bitcoin to go down this far, this fast. and 10 billion people get, liquidated like that. That's insanity, truly insanity. All right.
And just disclosure, I don't use leverage on any of my trading. If the only leverage I utilize is already baked in, and that would be in levered single or double levered ETFs. But the rule of thumb is any money that I lose is the money that I principally had. So I don't owe anybody in case of a dramatic sell-off.
Yeah, perfect. Sound advice, right? If you want, and then I just do, again, guys, it's the same thing. It's the same thing for me, right? I have a position, I do a little dollar cost averaging in, and then I try not to FOMO into anything too hard. I'm guilty as much as the next guy, but over time I've learned. So today, again, we take a look at the facts and we want to say to ourselves, okay, this is what's going on. Has this happened before? Yes, it has. Will it continue to happen? Yes, it will. Do I think it's going to go a little bit higher? Sure, why not? Because I still think this bull run has legs to run, but just don't get too rattled too fast. And then speaking of facts and data, I want to share one more thing with you, which I saw on my favorite place, Twitter. I want to talk about this real quick. This was a piece that I saw it, and again, emotions take over, right? If you're not new to my channel, I'm not a big fan of Coinbase because of the fees and everything else. I've since changed my mind a little bit because people remind me, hey, Rob, remember, not everybody is, really good with going into an exchange and start trading and everything else. So Coinbase has its place, right? So this article, it talks about how the CEO sold 71% of shares, CPO sold 97%, CFO sold 100%, president sold 100% of shares. And I was like, damn, that's a crazy article. So I just said thoughts. And then immediately people are like, this is not accurate. This is an inaccurate report, and you have to take a look deeper. So, okay, this is from Don Gose, and he says, look, here's the article where it talks about Brian Armstrong sold 750,000 of his shares for 291 million. This represents 1.5% of his stake in the company, and this was the article follow-up from there. However, I wanted to get Alex's take on this because this was not an IPO, right? This was a direct listing. So there was no shares being created anymore. It was just the shares that the employees had, and that's what could have been sold. So, Alex, what do you think on this one?
Yeah, listen, the team over there has obviously done a lot of hard work to get to where they are today, to where they were when they did that direct listing. Yes. And even last week when we were covering it, direct listing, I misstated. I wasn't fully aware that there was no Rule 144 when it came to direct listings. Rule 144 is mandatory in IPO, and that's typically where insiders have a certain restricted period before they can sell shares. But I guess in the case of not diluting the share float, that does not apply. So they were able to sell right off the rip when this thing went public. Listen, they were the only ones selling against retailers. Everybody else was buying and had the equal opportunity chance to do so. The float that they sold was their right to do so. Mm-hmm. And as far as that creating what I call the Facebook effect, which is opposite of the Coinbase effect, and that's when a stock goes up and suddenly down on opening day. We have you take a look at the broader market, and we have Coinbase that has come up, and this is just a little crying face of when I was losing money on the position, but you have Coinbase, which has come up since then. But you also look at its peers, and those four charts are all equity stocks that have Bitcoin exposure. They all found the same pattern. Okay, no one was immune to the night before's TD Cell 9 that brought the market down. But as far as the Coinbase team sharing, guess what? Think of it like this: you don't have much more of that to worry about if you decide to buy in.
Yeah, that's a good point, actually. So so that's one of those articles where I'm like, I just need a little bit more input from it. And no one's trying to spread FUD, but I think if we don't talk about these articles and flesh it out, then it just becomes underground, and then people, they might go with it. So I want to bring it out in the open as much as possible, discuss it, and then get the right information. I think that's the best options. I think, anyhow. And then go ahead, Al.
I want to share one entertaining thing. I want you, this is where I want you to talk about it.
All right.
The old question, if you invested $1,000
Yeah.
in 5 coins 5 years ago, and here are the coins right here,
5 years ago.
which one of those would you have realistically invested in 5 years?
Okay. Oh, I'm okay. So 5 years ago, I have $1,000, right, to invest in whatever I want to. Okay. So when I first got into crypto, I was a big Bitcoin and XRP. Big, right? People are like, it's a banker's coin, you're a moron. I'm like, well, I can't debate that. And then, so to me, I would have put it in those, I would have put it in Bitcoin, XRP. And 5 years ago, was it, I don't know how much, Ethereum, I probably, not that much, because I really don't know about it. And then Dogecoin, probably because I'm a little bit of a gambler. And I would have split it up. I probably would have put 500 in Bitcoin, 400 in XRP, and like 100. But if I had to go all one in on one thing, probably, back then I was pretty much a gambler. I would have done XRP. I would have done XRP. I know.
Really?
Yes, I would have.
Okay. All right. Interesting. Well, I mean, it's no surprise here. Dogecoin would have topped that list at $1.03 million in return over 5 years. But then again, if that article had come out about 2 weeks ago, that would have been a different number.
Hey, throw those numbers up again. I want to take a look at those. God damn it, that's crazy.
Litecoin, I mean, obviously the poor loser in that category.
Yeah. So Ethereum would have been, so $1,000 would have been $250,000, 273,000. Bitcoin would have only been 148,000, but sustainable and nice on a trajectory. Litecoin, 87,000. That sucks. XRP, yeah, that's it. Doge 1.03. Okay. So it's amazing, right? Who would have, first of all, if you chose Dogecoin, put it in the comments section right now that you knew it the whole time, baby. You're like, you know what? It's going to the moon. I know exactly. The technicals are sound. The team is fantastic. Partnerships are out of the roof. Tell us how we missed Dogecoin. I just missed it. Oh, and then before I go on, because I want to talk about a great quote, which I think is going to sum up the whole thing about investments and things like that. I want to share this with you, which was, oh, that was my quote, but trade the chain. So I am the king of the shills. We all know that, right? But this really does make sense. The last 4 days, I start every video on by saying the same thing. Well, digital asset news, let's go over the markets, right? Talk about the stories and I go to the markets. Every single time we have gone over trade the chain. I'm going to go to coins right now. It might be a little bit different. Yeah. We had a massive run of this, right, Alex, right? I mean, the last 4 or 5 days, it was a pretty big, I mean, I think we had like $100 billion into the market cap. However, every single time we'd come here, the sentiment, hourly and daily, it was all bearish, at least the top 20. And you can go back and take a look at those videos. Now it's a little bit different because we've already had the dip. And people who have been in here for a long enough time know what goes down will come up, just like the weather in Houston. So now I just want to say, like, this, when people were asking me, like, Rob, that doesn't make any sense. We're going up to the moon. It's Lambo time. This is incorrect because the sentiment isn't right. And I was like, no. People have been around for a long time, because where we get this sentiment is, this is Trade the Chain. They're one of 5 different cryptocurrency companies that has a direct API into Twitter. They pull all that data. They scrape the webs. They scrape the exchanges, their different listings, the Twitter accounts, their blog posts, and then they give you a score from all this data. And I'm like, look, I think it's right. And I think there's going to be a big problem coming up. And sure as heck it is.
You know, you could tease the folks and toggle that 1 hour projected sentiment to the top ones.
You trying to take my title, Alex?
I'm sorry.
Okay. You're really coming up. I got to watch out. Okay. So
Bitcoin Cash.
Oh, Danish is going to love this. So everybody right now, if you're looking to, and this is not financial advice, this is just some education purposes only. Our piece is only one small part of that piece for the whole pie of where you should get all your information. But I will say this, with 90% accuracy, this middle number right here where it says 8.16%, This is what they are projecting in the next hour for Bitcoin Cash to go up. It is 11:45 a.m. It is, and everybody asks me, why don't you ever know the date? Because I don't know the date.
I always forget too, man.
It's the 18th of April. Let's see how far Bitcoin Cash goes up. Litecoin, 7%. Grin, 5%. Mana, which is one that I'm seriously looking at into adding into my portfolio, 4.5%. Steam, holy smokes, 3%. And Compound, Cream Finance, Singularity, Electronium, and XRP.
Rob, this, I got to interrupt this before you switch, because this has been what the case has looked like for the top of the coin screener page since the and just before the Coinbase IPO. And it was coins that are not regularly seen up there, like the Bitcoin Cashes, like the Litecoins. And before, there was even Ethereum Classic, which topped this chart for a whole day. Now,
what?
Yeah, exactly. I was confused. I was wondering what's going on. And after we started looking through the data and kind of sharing notes, we came to the conclusion, I could be completely wrong, that this was because of all the new eyeballs that were now looking at crypto, and especially because of the Coinbase thing. But they were looking at coins they may not be familiar with, but they had like Bitcoin in the name, or they had Ethereum in the name, and things like that. So we usually don't see these coins at the top at all, ever.
Yeah. Well, it makes now it's starting to make sense. I got you. And then, hey, real quick, I'm going to jump back to. I'm going to toggle this. One thing I'd like to note, though, is that see the daily sentiment in the last 4 or 5 days, it was bearish. Now, because of this dip, we're neutral to some bullish to very bullish, depending on the hour, and then a little bit bearish. It's a mixed bag. I'm more hopeful now moving forward because we had this correction. Like they talk about, corrections are healthy. But I will say this, it was nice to get rattled. And it sounds weird, but it was nice to get rattled a little bit, because now when I think about these things, I can go, okay, I got rattled. I took a look at exactly where I think the market is going. I can take a look at the data. I can take a look at all the information I should actually know and really dig into and just make a better choice from here. Do I think that the market's going to go from 2 trillion to 5 trillion tomorrow? No. Maybe. No, I'm just kidding. It's not going to. But I will say that these corrections, I think, are still healthy. When is the bull run going to end? I have no idea. And that is why it's important to have an exit strategy at some point. Things will not go up forever, and you have to protect yourself and make sure you do the things that are the best thing for you and your family, which leads me to like one of my last points, and I'm going to give it to Alex. I've been talking too much. This is a great quote. CJ always says this. I always sell too soon. Or when asked how he made his fortune, Rothschild said this. Rothschild, I never invest at the bottom, and I always sell too soon. And that is just the truth, right? If you think that you're going to time these markets, you can get lucky and you can do it. I did it one time. It was amazing. I thought I was a genius, but I was just lucky. And that, I think, is where all the money is made. You're never going to sell the top. You're never going to buy at the bottom. Just get in with those ranges. Have your plan of action, your exit strategy, whatever you think it is. Make sure that you contact your exchanges now. If you're going to cash out, make sure those limits are raised before you run into that problem. Make sure that you don't have some wacky ass coin that you got that you think that you're going to be able to swap on Uniswap, because when things go crazy and wonky, everybody's getting out, you're not going to be able to swap on Uniswap. Just make sure you're protected. And that's the spiel of the day.
Yeah.
Alex, what do you think, man?
I think it's a good spiel. Yeah. Listen, all things 100% of the time rarely ever go as planned in crypto. So, to what you're saying, if you're playing with money that you may need next week in real life, plan for it. Plan for getting it out. If you are looking to get into a trade, make sure you have dry powder wherever you're going to go trade. Don't suddenly try to set it up on the day of. Be prepared, and be prepared for those losses and those big wins. So, no, it's a smart move. You always give sound advice, and that's why I like watching your channel, Rob.
Speaking of which, if you want some insider type of information, that's why I watch Alex. Check him out at the Alex Mascioli Show. He is. Let me show you something. Let me show you something. I'll show you. Let me share my screen.
Make me sound like a circus, the Alex Massioli Show.
Welcome everybody, boys and girls of all ages. So if you scroll down, oh, here's all the people I watch actually. And of course, past the monstrous amount of shilling that I do in all my links, you will see my channel recommendations. Alex is the first one. I try to never miss a show. Sometimes I miss one or two, but I mean, he is the guy, and it always boggles my mind where I'm like, when I met Alex, he had like 600 subscribers. I'm like, what the hell? This is crazy, because those whales that you guys are always hearing about, he talks to those guys. So I'm like, why don't we just listen to him? So check out his show, Alex Massioli. On top of that, Alex Becker. Oh, if you want.
Oh my God. Hold on. I heard you playing, I watched your video waiting for Simon Yu. And I think it was this Alex Becker gentleman you were listening to. Yeah, I was laughing right along with you.
So if you want a dose of reality, he was one of the ones where he was actually very serious today. He's like, I don't think the market, whatever else, it's good to get a different opinion so you aren't living on hopium, right? You have to get all these opinions to make sure you make the right decision. So these two guys, Coin Bureau, Hashoshi, Mike the Investor, this was the guy who turned me on to BTT along with my friend George, and he finds a lot of low cap gems. Crazy for cryptos, that's Dave. Crypto Nobs in the Bitcoin family, that's from Diddy, who did the exact opposite of what I'm always talking about. That guy did go all in. Early 2017, he sold his house, his cars, his kidneys, and he just bought Bitcoin. And that's it. So check out those guys, and that's the big thing. Hey, how about this? Alex, have you got time today?
Yeah, I got all the time in the world.
Well, how about this? Let's do a follow-up to what's going on in the market and see how it goes on later, and if we get any more information out there. And then we'll do a live stream over on your show.
Yeah, that sounds good. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to screenshot that 1 hour projected range and sentiment dashboard now, and then we'll see what it looks like later.
Yeah, so people can either call us geniuses or liars or shills.
Most people just call us shills, but who knows?
Hey, look, man. When we talk about, I only try to talk about the best products I can possibly find. Invest in people, and it works itself out, right?
I'm just going to say, listen, this is a paid promotion by Bitcoin. Bitcoin paid us to say that Bitcoin's going to do really well, and you should hold on to your Bitcoin. Satoshi
Nakamoto called me personally, and she said, listen, Rob, I need you to talk about my Bitcoin a little bit more because it's going down. I'm like, you know what, ma'am, that's fine. I will do that. Don't you worry. And then she goes, thanks. And I said, I'll see you in Ohio. That's where Satoshi Nakamoto is. I know this person.
Before we go, let me ask you this question, Rob. What is the single most important, worrisome thing with regards to crypto that is on your mind today, yesterday, tomorrow?
Yeah. This is what I've been thinking about. I'll share. I'll share exactly what concerns me. So you know how we know these 4-year cycles? 12, 13, 14, 15, you got a halving all-time high dip. And hopefully the next one. This is what concerns me with these charts. Everybody talks about these charts. And the one thing that concerns me is that so do all the whales, and so do all the manipulators, and so do all the people that have a lot into crypto. So in my opinion, and this is just the thing that concerns me, is that everybody's talking about how the bull run's going to end in October, November, December, January, February, somewhere around there. Maybe you just get a bunch of manipulators and whales and things like that, and they just start either putting out FUD stories or they start selling off like crazy because they go, you know what, we're going to do a preemptive strike and just tank it. And then before you know it, you don't really have this bull run. You're like, what the heck happened? I thought we were going to wait till whatever. And it just gets backed up a little bit. That's one of the things that concerns me, because you can never underestimate greed and groupthink. That's what I'm talking about.
Yep.
So like with that, you never know about these manipulators. And people always talk to me like, Rob, you're a moron, you're an idiot, you don't understand. It's going to stabilize because of all these institutions that are there. Look, that could be true for maybe Bitcoin, but if everything starts to crash like crazy, I think they will sell at some point. So this is why I'm always talking about the, a ladder exit strategy. Just start to, get out a little bit as time goes on instead of going, you know what, I'm going to hit the top, baby. I know what it is. That's one of those things that concerns me at some point. But then I think, you know what, greed is a hell of a thing. So maybe
It
people
is.
just write it all out.
And that brings me to my second part and last time I will speak, so that you can go first one. Is
Okay.
that you've said this plenty of times, you've disclosed this plenty of times. You bought very high up in the market in 2017.
Yeah.
And like the rest of us, you didn't quit. You waited through 3 years of a long winter.
Yeah, not smart.
Do you
Sometimes.
have I love the fact that you just got a super chat from a guy named Doggish Doge. That's awesome.
What?
Thank you.
I gotta make sure I check these out. Okay. Doug's George, thank you. Much appreciated.
Okay, your question will be answered for that right after mine. Hold on. So let me ask you this: is greed going to set in with you? Are you going to try and wait because of greed to the last possible moment to sell or exit your portfolio for maximum value, and possibly wait too long, or are you going to exit in stages prior to, and maybe sit back and be like, listen, I didn't get the top, but I'm okay?
So great question. And even as like we're all fallible humans, right? All people. There is no perfection out there. It just doesn't happen. So like even with the exit strategies that I put forward, even the price predictions that I have, as I see the market go up, I'm like, I can wait. I can wait. I can wait. And I even did a video about this. I think it was a couple months ago where I said, I'm having a hard time cashing out. And then I did that, and it was kind of like a soul searching thing. And then I realized like, hey, if I don't do the things that I say I'm going to do, then I'm just a hypocrite and I have to do it. So I pulled to my wife actually, because, wives, they're the ones that keep you grounded, and they got a hell of a lot more intelligence than you do. Like, look, here's what I got. Here's what I want to do. Here's the exit strategy. I want to get out 50% of Bitcoin, 80% of alts, because I think the crash is coming. And I was like, I need you to take a look at this. I need you to keep me straight. And she goes, oh, I'll keep you straight. And that was it. And then so far it's been pretty good.
Buddy.
Huh?
I know that firsthand.
I mean, dude, if it wasn't for her, Jesus Christ almighty. That's all I'll tell you. But yeah, good thing. So I'm going to ask you the same question, Alex, because I know when we were in Puerto Rico and we were playing those crap stables.
Oh yeah.
I was oh, Alex is he knows what he's doing. So same thing with you, because I know you were talking about that you're getting out. What's the percentage? What's the time frame? What's the strategy?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, we did a episode. I think that my time will run out end of November into December. I know a lot of people are speculating January, February. I think it's going to be slightly earlier than that. Mm-hmm. I also, listen, there's going to be, okay, here's the thing. Most people who are serious crypto investors are fiat poor. Okay. So when it comes to, say you need some money, mm-hmm. Question, do you sell one asset that you think is going to either underperform or stay stagnant, or do you equally sell off parts of the portfolio across the board to equal that sum?
Question for me. I'll tell you this. Here's what I got. So this actually came to realization when I was in Puerto Rico. Let me share something. Let me share my screen. Doggish Doge, we're going to get to your question in a bit. Underneath here, there is a link to Celsius. And here's my example. When I was in Puerto Rico, we were looking at condos, and we wanted to buy this condo as an investment property. And remember what Alex just said is true. When I am crypto heavy and I am fiat poor, this came to a head at this point because we were trying to get this condo. Wish I had some more pictures of it. We're trying to get this condo, and there were so many bids on it that were like, you know what, we'll trump everybody because we don't want to go to the banks. We're just going to offer cash. And all of a sudden, just like this, and it always happens when you offer cash, people are like, let's do it, because they don't want to wait 3 months for you to get approved for the bank, especially in Puerto Rico, to get this one. And now they can use that cash and buy whatever else they want. Here's the problem: didn't have any cash. I had some cash in my business accounts, which was enough to pay for my portion, but I was still short. So what do? So I have an option right here to take a huge capital gains tax and sell a couple of Bitcoin, get that cash, transfer it over, because it's the only market that's 24/7 liquid, right? And it's not like the banks are going to help me out to get a bunch of money because they suck, except the USAA. I still love them. They're great. So what did I have to do? I had to go to Celsius and I said, look, I need a loan. They go, what do you want to do? I said, well, I need X amount. And I'll just tell you, like they said, look, if you need 50, 100,000, give us, if you want to do 50,000, you got to give us 2 Bitcoin right now. But you're going to get the percentage to be 8%. I was like, yeah, it sucks. They, okay, well, if you don't want to do that, then give us 3 Bitcoin and it'll be like 5%. I was like, hey, 5%, I don't know. Okay, we'll give us 4 Bitcoin and it'll be 1%.
What?
Yeah.
4-to-1 collateral.
Mm-hmm. Collateral, 4-to-1. And I said, okay, it's 1%, right? I go, how long is it going to take? Because I need to get this thing done now. They go, it'll be done within 24 hours. It's like, you guys are full of it. Guess what? Did it, put it all in, came over here, got the collateral, everything was good. Came back to the States, got the money that I needed because the bank wouldn't release it. And then off we go. So that was it. I mean, sorry, no, let me rephrase that. It wasn't that the banks didn't release it, because once they put once I collateralized and the money from Celsius, it went right to my bank, USAA. And then from there, USAA was great. They said within an hour you'll have, and they did a wire transfer. It was like $20, and all the funds were in the Puerto Rico account. And that was it.
Interesting. And so now you get to, now this is interesting. So you are paying 1%.
Yes.
So it's basically free money.
Basically.
And you've locked up, let's call the hypothetical, 4 Bitcoin with Celsius, which is what you would have done anyway. It would just been locked up somewhere else, But so nothing in your life has changed except you got 50,000. You're not planning on selling that Bitcoin tomorrow or the next day. Nothing in your life has changed except you got free money for a little bit to do your stuff.
Yeah, but and here's the thing though. Some people will say, like my wife is like, well, wait, what if it goes to 150,000? So do you owe, $600,000? I'm like, And I go, that's the beauty. I pay it back, and then they give me back my 4 Bitcoin. But here's the other thing. If you want to minimize risk, let's just say I don't really want to leave the Bitcoin over there. So here's what we're going to probably end up doing is that as time goes on, I'm going to pay off that loan earlier as fast as I possibly can, get that Bitcoin back. Then now I can have it and I can put it back in my ledger. Or the other option is to do this. I don't like using my own money ever. I like using other people's money. That's the best. That's the whole secret. So what I will probably do is we're going to go through the whole process of getting a loan and just say, because the loans are so cheap right now, and just say, hey, I need X amount of dollars. They give me the dollars and I put it right back and I get my Bitcoin back. So there's different options you can do if you want to minimize the risk. And that's up to you what you want to do. And then what's great about this property is that it's not a liability is because it's already been being rented on Airbnb and it's chock full because it's in Puerto Rico. So that was the thing. So I'm actually making money just by, doing that.
And not to mention that you don't have to worry about liquidation at 4-to-1. I mean, that would be the end of the world, basically.
So yeah, and that's a good point. Because the liquidation, I looked at the paperwork. I would only get liquidated if Bitcoin goes to $18,000.
Well, I mean, Ryan Gorman thinks it has a chance, but I'm just joking. I don't know what Ryan thinks.
Ryan, I got to tell you though, that kid's got some great head of hair.
So last question, because I know Doge Man in the chat is waiting for his question to get answered.
Sorry, man. Yeah.
But last part though, for people who can't do this, because I just realized as you were saying that not everybody's like you, Rob. Not everybody's responsible. Not everybody, is able to get a loan from Celsius. So back to my original question.
All right.
If you needed that $50,000. would you liquidate an underperforming or stagnant asset, or would you equalize that 50 grand by selling off the whole portfolio?
That's a tough one.
I know.
So yeah, that's really tough. So there was this, I did this video where it was an old show called Amazing Stories. And it was this thing where like, it was the stupidest thing. It was on the 80s. It starred Mark Hamill from Star Wars, and it
I
had
watched
Steven
that the
Spielberg.
other day, man.
Yeah. So you know what I'm going to say. So like this stupid elf thing comes in there and says, hold on to all your treasures or all your trinkets because they're worth treasure. And he's talking to a kid, which I was like, this is a weird thing to talk to a kid about. So this kid, which is Mark Hamill, he holds on to all his baseball cards, all his comic books, all everything, but he doesn't do anything else with them, right? He just holds on until he's like super old, like 70 or 80 years old. And then he's just like this hobo bum just coming around. And this lady kind of finds him, says, oh, I really like this jar. It's really important, or this mug, and it's worth $10,000. He's like, oh, and then he starts selling all this stuff. And now he's like a multi-millionaire. And that's like the last scene where he's like all dressed up. And then this troll comes on. He's like, and he like salutes him. And I was like, I would have punched that troll in the mouth.
The guy's almost dead at this point.
Exactly. So here's the thing. If it's me and I have some underperforming assets that are like really not going anywhere, I'm going to sell those off. And I'm just going to take those and go, okay, I got to take a look at my entire portfolio, right? Which ones do I think are going to go do really well? Which ones I think are going to do, they're pretty risky. And then like, which ones are like the super risky ones where like I got it like just some money over there that the chance of them doing well aren't too good. I'm going to sell those risky ones off, because just like in that piece I was talking about, what he should have done, just sell all that stuff off in the beginning and then just, get it, or just get some other type of asset. So me, I would have sold those things off and be like, let's do this. Especially if it's like this for property. If I got a great property and, first of all, property is great because, you can do short-term, long-term rentals, and then the tax break that you get as far as like the depreciation factor, you can depreciate your property 20% over, it's over 20 years, the entire cost, so you can get your tax breaks. I would do that. That's just me. But other people are like, nope, I'm selling my Bitcoin, I'm going out. But just remember, once you sell your Bitcoin, or once you put it into a stable coin, or once you buy goods and services with your crypto, that's a taxable event. So you got to be prepared. And depending on where you're at, it could be massive.
Unless you move to Puerto Rico.
Yeah, that's true. Which will be our next video, me and Alex, when we do the Puerto Rico move video, and we'll tell everybody about it. I'm going to have, well, probably you'll be there. Me, you. I'm going to have the real estate agent. I'm going to try to get Sheehan, the crypto CPA, and then also Gio, the guy from Lucas, to be on as a round panel, and then give everybody the information.
Yeah, let me tell you, the real estate agent, she's crack. I like her.
Yeah, see, I told you. Okay, so Alex, that whole question that you just asked me, what would you do?
My first initial thought was what you answered, which is sell off underperforming or stagnant assets based on what your belief on the other assets going up, rather than equalize it across the whole portfolio.
I don't like that. Yeah, I'm down with that. All right. Well, everybody, that's what we got for today. So just as a recap, there's a ton of liquidations that just happened, $10 billion. And that was a ton. Oh, hold on. Before we stop, we got to answer Doge.
And yet Crypto Hunky over there with a super chat too.
Crap. I got to ask that one too. Sorry. So Doge says, your thoughts on Elongate token, only 3 weeks old and already working in talks with Kimball Musk, Elon's brother. They just gave away a Tesla. Huh.
The Elon. So what was the name of the coin?
Elongate token.
That's all you did. Working with Elon's brother. I don't know how to even reply to that.
Well, let me just tell you this. If Elon can pump Dogecoin by just talking about it a little bit, and now you got Elon's brother, how much you think Elon's brother like, hey man, can you just tweet out Elongate? I wouldn't. If this was pre Dogecoin, I would have said that's ridiculous. But in these days, who knows? I might even actually take a stab at that. We should do a review on TradeWatch. And then crypto Hunky says of 20% APY on stablecoin. Yes. Which where do you get 20% APY on stablecoins?
Or no, I think actually isn't Celsius the highest on stable coins, but it's in the teens. It's not 20%, right?
I think it's like 12, 13%, something like
Yeah.
that. So Celsius got some good stuff. Okay. And then what was I?
Whoa, ALCX. Is that the Alex token?
The Alex token is a tomato coin, I think.
Self-paying loans and 220% APY.
What? What?
Jason Feller, super chat.
Jason Feller, interesting.
Self-paying loans. Huh. Interesting.
Now that strikes, what we should do? Hey, here's what we'll do. Alex, when we do your live stream tonight, if we got time, let's take a look at ALCX. Let me write this down.
I'm going to write this down.
Perfect. Show us your coins. ALCX and elongate.
If you super chat Rob with a coin, we will look at it tonight.
We will look at it, yeah, for sure. And then, so people who just came in, just to like a little recap, the things that we talked about today. Let me just do this so I can.
Well, crypto.com had a 20% APY, is what someone just said.
Damn, crypto.com. I mean, those guys. Some people love them, some people hate them. But if you are the ones that love crypto.com, you love crypto.com. They always talk about that.
You know, it's funny. When we were down in Puerto Rico, I saw Lucas. We were, I don't know, out at a bar or something. I saw Lucas pay for the bill once with a crypto.com card. So it works. Yeah. People are using it.
You know what? Hold on. Let me just do the recap. I was going to talk about funds. So the thing that we talk about, there was a massive liquidation. So you're looking at $10 billion roughly in 24 hours, which will lead to a cascade effect. And then people, once they get liquidated because of their overexposure, they're doing leverage trading. Then it just starts to sell off, and everybody else is like, what's going on? And then they start selling off, and then it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. That's part of the reason. Also, me and Alex talked about there was a potential U.S. Treasury crackdown on money laundering, which is just a rumor and is unsubstantiated. Alex said that doesn't make any sense because of the KYC and AML. So once this rumor gets fleshed out, then we'll see. But right now it's unsubstantiated. And then also there was a blackout in China, which was actually 2 days ago. So there's a blackout in China, which affected the hash rate power of Bitcoin mining. And then there was this little piece that we pretty much debunked, talked about how the Coinbase IPO, how much they sold, but in reality, it was 1.5%. So that's what we got. And then we just went over the 4-year cycles, and that was the big thing. And then lastly, we talked about one of the best thing I've heard so far is this is from Nathan Rothschild. I never invest at the bottom, and I always sell too soon. So just remember, you'll never time the tops. Make sure you have some kind of strategy. Make sure that you contact your exchanges. Make sure you get those limits extended so you can move, transfer, cash out as much as you want to, and just make sure that you don't have a lot of crazy, wacky coins, because you're not going to be able to swap out on Uniswap when things go sideways and you want to get out fast. That's the big thing.
Let me just say something with regards to this thing. You actually looked at a PwC UK blog in their pensions filing. I like that. That's I don't think I could have found that.
Yeah, see, I don't do much. I'm trying to recover from last night, so I had a lot of time to do stuff.
Here we have another super chat, Safe Moon. So I'm writing these down. I swear to God, you guys throw up a super chat here. That means you're not a spammer. We'll take a look at your coins.
Safe Moon. There was something else. There was one called Zero. There was a Zero exchange.
Yes.
And that was one with zero fees. There's also one called Orion, which is also, they do central exchanges, decentralized exchanges, and the rates are low as well. We should take a look at those too.
What, it's Zero and Orion?
Orion.
Okay.
And this is not financial advice. This is just stuff that I had been picking up and looking at, and I was going to do a video on it later. So don't go out there and buy it, because
There's another one, Marsh, another super chat.
Well, I like that. Marsh. SH. Man, we got a lot of stuff to do, Alex.
Yeah, we may have to end this live stream, or we're going to be doing analysis for all evening.
Exactly. Yeah, let's get out of here. I got to do some things. But Anyhow, guys, so just remember, it's the same thing. Don't get too high on hopium. Take a look at all the information and then go from there, make the best decision.
Hold on. Let me make an announcement, Rob. Guys, no more super chats. I'm going to take these last 2 super chats and that's it. Okay. Yeah. Rob and Alex, is it too late to start with what would you buy? No, this is all you, dude. You're a leader when it comes to this question.
Debatable. 20K. Ooh, that's a lot of money. First of all, I did a video about a week ago where what I would do with, if you had like $25 to $50 to start investing in, like if you had like $25 for like a week or a month, I just talked about, dollar cost averaging versus value cost and everything else, because some people don't have a boatload of money, right? So when people are throwing out numbers like, well, I got 5,000 or 20,000 or 100,000, that's crazy for some people, but that's nothing for other people. So watch the other video where I talk about 25 to $50, because in my opinion, cryptocurrency and digital assets is probably the best place to invest as opposed to the traditional market. So as far as like 20K, what would I do? Let me just tell you like this. Hold on. I should probably share my screen so you don't know what the heck I'm talking about. All right, no more super chats, everybody. Thank you so much. We appreciate it. So the question is, if I had 20,000, what would I do? So if we look at the 4-year cycles, which again, they could repeat, but it's not necessarily set in stone. Here's 2012 and 2015, 2016, 2019, and then this is the current one. I believe strongly that we are right here, right where that number 2 is, right above there. That's around April of the last cycles that we had, when it's just starting to take off. So for me personally, and I'm telling you, I'm going to say this twice. This is not financial advice. This is not financial advice. If you do what I say, that's not good information, because you should get your information from multiple places and make the best decision for you and your family. Having said all that twice, this is what I would do. If I had $20,000, first of all, I would probably, and I'm going to just go on a limb here. I would not dollar cost average, which is what I'm always talking about, because right now is where everything should pretty much take off.
You're not going to have enough runway, right?
Yeah, you're not going to have enough runway. And I would either go all in, right. This is actually a pretty good time to do it, honestly, because we just saw a huge dip. Or if I want to be safe, which is pretty much me, I would probably value cost average in 3 price points. And I could do it today, maybe in 5 or 7 days from now, then maybe in another 10 days, or maybe even 2. But let's just say I went all in. If I went all in for 20K, I will just say this. If you're going to invest in Bitcoin, just know that on this bull run, you really can't go up too much. The market cap is way too high. So we're looking at $1.1 trillion for a market cap, which is roughly, a little bit half of what's going on. You can only go up maybe 2x, maybe 3. So I would probably put, honestly, between $5,000 and $7,000 into Bitcoin. I would spread out the other money between the smart contract wars, which are going on, which I believe is Ethereum, which I think is Cardano, which I think is Avalanche, and maybe even a Tezos, something else like that, because I believe that smart contract is going to be very huge. And I would take that one. I'd also put it on Voyager. I know people are pretty ticked off right now, but I believe it's still going to be a great buy because of the tokenomics, because of the loyalty program that's going to be pushed out over the next, 2, 3, 4 weeks. So I would definitely do that one. And then Swissborg, because I think that they are the European Voyager. And it's another one that I would definitely do. Anyhow, I would spread it across those. And I would just say Bitcoin's the safest, and everything over there is about probably medium risk. And that would be it.
And Frida, to answer your question, if I had to choose one of the 3 that were in your first one, I would say Zcash, not financial advice, but Zcash, Grin, or I forget the third one already, Steam. I like Zcash the best.
Zcash for privacy, yeah. Zcash was actually even turned on by the Gemini, the Winklevi.
Yeah.
They turned that on, and then you can actually do privacy transactions, which was actually approved by New York which is crazy, right? They don't approve jack. They don't.
They don't approve me of being on your show right now. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm waiting for a summons. So we'll see how that works out. All right. Are we good to go?
I think we are, sir. I wrote down all the tickers, and we'll go over them this evening.
All right. Thanks, everybody, for stopping by. I appreciate it. And we will see you on the next one. And I think I need to